This morning at probably, she went to use the restroom and while she was in there throwing up.
So she didn't get a chance to get nausea medicine.
They've been giving it to her on a schedule, but, and that's what I just
Think that's still?
I thought we were kind of getting past it as of yesterday. I actually made a comment to her mom. I was like, I think we're finally getting the nausea knocked out. And then as soon as I said it, 15 minutes later, she threw up. And I was like,
So
I thought we were doing good.
So what we need to do is kind of sit down, a lot of different families asking questions, okay? And we want everybody to be kind of on the same, understanding, okay? Now everybody knows that this has been a bad tumor, it's been a fast growing tumor, from the get-go, okay? You knew the prognosis, and they did too, I think when we first saw you, that I take care of a lot of people with cancers, but we rarely see a cancer that will grow this fast and not respond at all to therapy. And we're kind of at a decision point in that, we kind of changed therapies to quote one of the new immune therapies, okay? But realizing when we change to a new therapy like that, nobody in the world can tell you whether it stands a 1% chance of working or a 5% chance of working or a 10% chance of working. The data is not available. We do know from the way her cancer has acted that it grows fast, it spreads fast, and it's really dragged her down fast. And that's not likely to change. Just sometimes the biology of certain tumors are such that nothing that we do, makes a difference. And we deal with some other cancers like that. And that's kind of what hers has done, okay? Now, we just got started on this other therapy. The only way we can give the therapy is as an outpatient. We cannot do it as an inpatient because the pharmaceutical company donated the drug, okay? But at the same time, when we change therapies, it takes 3 or 4 months for us to even decide, is something going to work, okay? And I don't think we have 3 or 4 months, the way things have gone. Do you? That you can't eat. You've kind of been pretty miserable between the pain and the nausea. You've done pretty well in here, okay, just to control the pain. But even now, you can't really eat and drink. So I think the question really is for you more than anybody, because it is your decision, okay? Is there any way that you think we can go ahead with therapy, sending you home, and when you get up out of bed, and doing things? Because for the most part, if somebody is in bed most of the time, they're really not up to therapy, okay? Chemotherapy zap half your energy. If you have no energy, you just can't get chemotherapy in, no matter how young or in good shape you're in, because we just drag her down with the chemotherapy.
So at what point can she not have chemo?
Well, if you look at her right now, okay, I'm not sure she's up to chemo. That even at home before she came in the hospital, we brought her in the hospital because she's pretty much bedridden. She said occasionally you could get up and around, okay? But, to give chemotherapy just because we won't admit that, that it's a terminal disease, that's not the right thing to do. The only reason to give chemotherapy is if we really think it stands a chance of working, okay? And I don't think we have the time for it to work. And like I say, it's a new drug. We have no idea whether it would stand a chance of working anyway.
Dr.
Okay?
Capon, I had a question for
Sure.
you. Just because I guess, and I'm stayed away throughout most of this, so I guess that there's gaps in my understanding.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't aware that we had such a large mass close to her liver.
We didn't start with.
So that's
Okay?
my next question.
This is grown on her chemotherapy.
So that's what my question is. We have to look at it and say, is it working up until this point? Because the last that I had heard before she was admitted was that we didn't have any new growth and that some of it was actually getting smaller.
Well, that's not true.
Okay. So
Okay.
that's a gap in my
Realizing we made a decision several weeks ago that this disease is growing. And in fact, we did our CAT scan this time much faster than we normally do. Normally we do CAT scans in 3 or 4 months. I think we did our CAT scan in 2 months,
Okay.
just because of the nature of her disease. Okay? And so when we did the last CAT scan before admission, it's clear that this was growing, else we wouldn't have ever left that chemotherapy behind. Okay?
Okay.
No, that chemotherapy was not working. Yeah.
And that's simply, then that may have been my ignorance, that's simply
No,
something I didn't
it's just
understand.
communication. You know, I have a large family.
No,
People are
that's-
going to even hear different things,
That's
etc.
what I was told.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not by you. No.
Well,
not
and I
by
know
you.
she
It was
sees
a-
me, she sees Dr. McCormick, she sees my nurse, she sees a lot of different people. But the reason we changed therapies is it wasn't working and her disease was progressing.
So that
You kind of knew that, don't you? Huh?
Okay, but I thought last Wednesday they said 50% of the cancer cells had shrunk, and the other 50% did not grow.
I don't know where you got that.
Dr. McCormick.
Okay.
Basically,
Yeah, I don't know where you got
That's what
that.
Ma'am told me.
Okay.
That's what we were told.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, you know, that people will, he hates to give bad news. I'm not criticizing him, but he tries hard not to give bad news. And sometimes he will give more optimistic than should be given. Okay?
I'll agree with you 100% there.
And I think on the CAT scan, I think it's clear her disease is growing.
Well, we
okay.
didn't see it.
And none of us can really say, this cell's growing, this cell's not. I mean, all we can do is look at the tumor on the CAT scan and say it's bigger. Not only that, it's even if you didn't look at the CAT scan, if you look at her, okay, you know, I think anybody can look at her and tell things are not going well. You know, she can't eat, she can't get up, she was in a lot more pain, you know, at home. Okay, I think the pain is better with the recipe, and Dr. Wynn and I have been kind of working on that recipe some, because we'd like to get a pain recipe that she can take home with her.
Right.
And I
Okay.
think that again, a gap in my understanding was I was under the impression that most of this pain and nausea was a side effect of the chemo and not necessarily because of the cancer itself.
You know, the chemotherapy doesn't really cause pain, okay? And if you just feel her belly, she's not going to let everybody feel her belly.
Right.
It's hard as a rock,
Right.
okay? That's all tumor that is growing. So it's just covered,
Okay, I need to process that for a second.
okay?
All of this is tumor and not
And
fluid?
she feels here most of that is hard tumor.
So can you, how big are we talking? Like, can you illustrate?
We don't really measure that because
Mhm.
it's not just a tumor. It's kind of where disease kind of spreads out, you know, and it grows, okay? And that's why her bowel, that's why she's having a hard time eating. You know, it doesn't necessarily block the bowel, but if you sugarcoat the bowel with this tumor, it can't work, okay? The tumor, you know, bowel has to be real pliable and work things through. If you make it rigid like a pipe, it doesn't work, okay? You know, you can't fix that. And, you know, we talked a little bit about, she was asking me about nutrition, you know, that if you put a feeding tube in, I don't think the digestive tract would work, okay? You know, so,
So,
and,
I
you know,
need to get
nutrition,
nugget pieces for a second. Did
Mhm.
you just tell me that her digestive tract isn't working?
it's not working very well, and she wouldn't be throwing up all the time.
And they can't put feeding tube in. She's,
So this is, again, this is a lot of information that I wasn't aware of.
But if you watch the way she's lost weight, okay, that's because she has no appetite, isn't that true? And you know, things start tasting bad, they're metallic. You know, we eat because it tastes good, you know, and that's not uncommon in a lot of the tumors that Dr. Wynn and I take care of. People just lose taste. Now, you try to nag, you try to provide, you know, you get everything, but it just doesn't work. Because if you're absolutely not hungry, you cannot make yourself
And
eat.
again, I think that most of us thought that was a byproduct of the chemo, not the cancer. So,
Now, for the chemo, that may be a byproduct for a day or two after the chemo, but long term, it's a malignancy. And most cancers do that, you know, at some point. That when the tumor gets so big, it sucks up all your nutrition. You're usually not hungry. You know, you can't eat if you want to. Yeah, you take one bite, that's it. Yeah.
Amanda, is there any questions that you have, hon?
We kind of talked about this some the other day, didn't we? You feel like you're alert enough that you kind of understand what we're saying?
what do you want from me?
You don't have to make a decision
No.
right now.
But we,
Okay? In fact, I think it's better if you don't make a decision. I think it's better if you think about it a little bit. Okay? that we could try to get your pain to the point, let you go home, see in a week whether we want to pick back up on therapy. But I think that's being kind of heroic, and don't do it for anybody but you. Okay? You know, because family never really wants you to give up. It's not giving up. In reality, that's what this tumor is doing. You know, if we decide that we really can't get therapy down, then we need to get you more help at home. Okay? And quite frankly, the best way to do that is hospice. Because they'll come to your house, they'll help you, they'll come in the middle of the night, they'll come on the weekend, they'll come on Sunday, you know. And, you know, we would stay in the treatment anytime you want to see us. Okay? But again, hospice is, I think, a wonderful group to kind of help you with that. But you do not have to make that decision now. You're not ready to go home in either event. You know, we're controlling your pain with IV pain medicines. Okay? We don't normally do that at home. We usually use something orally, so we would have to transition you over.
And when she takes it orally, then she has the indigestion and
Well,
everything.
but there's a lot of tricks. Okay?
Yeah.
If we can't do it orally, we can do it with patches. We can do it with this or that. She has an IV site. We even sometimes, if we have to, we will use those at home.
So, and I know that you can't give timelines either way, but in your opinion, with treatment versus not with treatment, what can we expect?
Well, one, you know, like I said, we don't have any idea whether the treatment stands a chance in working. Okay? Now, worst case scenario, treatment can shorten your life. Okay? With just dropping your white count, your nutrition, etc. So it actually can shorten your life. I don't know that. Okay? Just from the nature of her disease, I doubt that the treatment stands any real chance of working. It's an experimental drug with this disease. Okay?
And again, you're
Now,
comparing
I
that
don't
to
know
something-
how long she's going to live if we do nothing to keep her comfortable. A lot of that's whether she can eat and keep her nutrition up. But a lot of that is things that we can't guess. You know, if somebody gets a blood clot tomorrow, okay, you know, then it could be fatal. If you get a bowel obstruction tomorrow, it could be fatal. People live all the time a lot longer than we expect them to. We can't predict that. Unless Dr. Wynn's better than I am. You know, I just, that's our thing to say.
I think the gist of it is to know that Dr. Capon is the expert at taking care of these types of cancers, and I think the elephant in the room is we're all worried that it's not, that time is limited. So when, as doctors, if we're worried that there is a certain amount of time, certainly we don't want to steal that time away from, you know, family, you know, loved ones, and we want to make sure that you're living life doing the way you want to do it, and not just looking back and say, I was in a hospital, I was in clinic visits, I felt bad, getting treatments and things like that. So.
What's that?
She's
You want to lay back? Amanda, do you have questions? Huh? Is any of this a surprise to you? It's kind of what we talked about the other day. So.
Is it even an option to do surgery?
Excuse me?
Is surgery even an option to
Yeah.
take anything else out?
You know, because you can't take it all out. Yeah. And again, the nature of her disease
It'll
is
just
it's going to
spread.
go fast. She wouldn't recover from surgery. Yeah. And I don't think, like I said, she does not have to make a decision. Nobody has to make a decision. This is Friday, okay? And nothing much happens over the weekend. I'll be in, okay? And we'll be keeping an eye on it. But you know, by early next week, we probably ought to make, if she wants to go home, particularly if we want to involve hospice, which I think would be a reasonable thing to do, then we'll start making plans. There's some things that they can do for you. They get bedside commodes, they get hospital beds. They could set up a lot of things at home just to make things easier, okay? You know, what hospice does require is that somebody's there with her. She's never had any trouble with that. She's got a huge caring family, okay? And so I don't think that's an issue for her. She's always had somebody, okay? You know, hospice is not meant to make you stay in bed or at home. You know, if somebody feels better and wants to go out and do something, do it. Okay? You know, that's what we would hope, is that we can get her comfortable enough that she can go out and do something. I don't know that that's going to happen. You know, she just doesn't have any energy. So we'll come back a little bit later when there's not so many people and answer your questions, okay? That'll give you a chance to kind of think about it, talk with your husband. Okay? Okay, well, we're sorry you're going through all this. This weekend I'll probably be in over regularly if people have questions, but they can contact me, okay? You're not in this weekend, are you? Okay. Okay.
Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay here?